Hello everyone and welcome back to another Farming Simulator 25 tutorial. This tutorial will cover all of rice and rice patties and long grain rice and everything like that. I'm going to do a thorough breakdown on how each is grown and what's the best way for you to get your best yield out of either a paddy field of rice or long grain rice, because they are both slightly different. If this video helps you out, please consider hitting like and subscribe and check out the channel for more Let's Plays and also more tutorials on Farming Simulator 25. With that said and done, let's crack on with the video. For normal rice, we're going to begin with paddy field. Obviously enough, that's how you sow the rice. It needs to be in a cultivated state for this to work, because otherwise if you come up to the pump, you won't be able to flood it if it's not in a cultivated state. So you have to flood it first. So this does take a bit of time. It does slowly fill up, but to sow ordinary rice, you do need this transplanter, this Izeki transplanter, and you need rice saplings, which can be grown from this greenhouse. I am on Hutan Pantai, so this greenhouse is given to you off the bat straight away when you start. You just need to fill it with water to activate it to bring up your rice saplings, and these are the pallets of saplings. There's 24 pieces on a pallet, and that's what fits on this. But I think there is a bit of a bug at the minute with this, that it only holds like 17 or 18. It won't actually fill up. Even the slots on the back here where these saplings go won't fill. So just keep an eye out for that. It might be fixed. It could be a patch. Probably needs to be patched. But anyway, we need this to fill up. It does take a bit of time. I mean, we are on 4%. So I will skip ahead a bit of time and we will come back when this field is completely flooded. Right. It took about an hour and a half in-game for this to fill up, because we were at about 10 to 9. Or 10 to 8. So yeah, it's about an hour and a half, little more, for this to fill up. This pump stops when it's full. As you can see, we're on 65%. So when you're doing ordinary rice and you're flooding in an empty cultivated field, 65% is the optimum water level, and it cuts off by itself when it hits that level. As you can see, it's extremely flooded here, and you can see the ripples of the new water physics in Farming Simulator 25. Very impressive. But we need this Izeki transplanter. So we're going to get in. This does take solid fertilizer, so make sure to fill it up, because otherwise you can't fertilize this, because you can't drive in a crop, because you're already essentially putting in a grown crop, because it's saplings. So the way to fertilize it is you need fertilizer in this Izeki planter, and it only takes, oh look, it actually filled up for once. Usually it doesn't. I made a liar out of me. But you can only fertilize ordinary rice once. It's kind of similar to grass. It already has one stage of fertilizer when you flood the field, and then when you solid fertilizer with transplanter, you've given it the second stage. So it's like grass. You only need to fertilize it once to get maximum fertilization. So if we just turn on the GPS here just really quick, we'll probably do 3 and everything else seems to be fine. Yep. So we can line ourselves up and plant this rice. If we turned on the machine, it would help. Right, let's get transplanting some rice. I will skip ahead, and this is just basic enough. You obviously just drive around with this machine. You probably might have to fill up this size paddy field. Probably won't be done in one go. You probably will have to go back and fill up off a second sapling pallet. But I will be back when this field is finished. One thing I wanted to mention, we have the rice paddy field drilled or planted, or whatever way you want to call it. One thing I wanted to say is you can't do rice in July. I have seasonal growth turned off just for the sake of this video, to make it a little bit easier on myself, that I don't have to keep skipping to April. Because April and May is the only time you can plant ordinary rice like this with the transplanter and the flooded rice paddy. You can only plant it in April and May, and you can harvest it in August and September. So keep that in mind. You can't do it in July like me, unless you have seasonal growth turned off or you don't play with seasonal growth. But I'm going to skip ahead. We have 4 months to wait, so I'm going to skip ahead 4 months here, and I will be back in just a jiffy. As you can see, we've skipped 1 month and it has germinated, so we need to flood the field again because it hit 0. Water level too low, flood the field to avoid crop damage. If you don't do this and you forget, you will get patches of withered crop. So like say if you didn't do it this month or you left it till like 2 or 3 o'clock today in August, say, in my case, everything will grow fine, but once it's grown fully you will have patches, and when you go to harvest with the harvester, it will only obviously harvest the fresh stuff and will not harvest the withered crop, and you'll have like patches of grey rice everywhere, all over the whole paddy field if you don't flood it. Now I left it all night. The way it works is at 12 o'clock at night it hits 0, so this will flood to 65% or 67%, whatever the optimum is for ordinary rice, and at 12 o'clock at night it will hit 0. It'll just go straight to 0. It won't deteriorate slowly, go down percentage throughout the whole day. It'll just, once it hit 12 o'clock, bang, straight to 0. So I'm at 8 o'clock in the morning here, as you can see, and I've done this in my Let's Play. I always kind of wake up around 8 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock in my Let's Plays to get work done, and I've never had a problem. So if you do the same, you get up at 8 o'clock and the first thing you do is run out the door, straight over to these pumps and fill your rice paddy fields. You shouldn't have a problem. So just keep it in mind, every single month you will have to flood these until it's ready to harvest. So here we are, 8 o'clock, and it's ready to harvest, as you can see, so we don't need to flood it anymore. It will not ask you to flood on the second last stage either. Only when the rice is real short, it will ask you to be flooded and you need to flood it. It grows to something similar to this height, and it's green like grass, and you won't be able to flood it, so don't worry about that. If it doesn't let you flood it, it doesn't need to be flooded. Just make sure the first 2 or 3 stages of growth you are flooding it straight away. I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit of time here to get out of the kind of dusky, dawny kind of time early. But this is the Izeki Japan 6130 that you need to harvest the rice with. It's a special harvester. In Hutan Panta you are given it straight off the bat along with the Izeki transplanter. So we'll just jump into this, and we will go ahead and I will just show you quickly what it looks like to harvest some plain rice with the Izeki harvester. Obviously it's bone dry in there now because we haven't flooded it in a month, but here we go. It yields fairly okay, and it is worth a nice bit of money, so it is worth doing, and it's new, so I mean it's fun to do, and this little harvester is quite cool, and so is the transplanter. Just such unique machines. But yeah, as you can see then we are leaving like a chopped, mulched thing on the bottom, and we are getting all of the rice off of the top of the stem. So that is plain rice, as you can see in the right hand corner over the speedo. This is just ordinary rice, and in a few seconds I will just jump over and we will do long grain rice in the paddy field just over there where the case tractor is and class harvester, because you harvest long grain rice with a normal harvester. As you can see, none of our crop is white, and that's what withered rice looks like. If anyone does want to know, that's a full withered crop. It's all white. You will get patches of white crop like that. I fell through the wall. So yeah, you will get white patches of that kind of crop in this if you don't water it properly. So just bear that in mind, and you will obviously lose yield. So keep that in mind. Okay, so the second part of this video, we are going to do long grain rice. This is a little bit different than your ordinary rice that we were doing up there. As you can see, the crop actually hasn't withered, and I've moved on a few months just to get out of the dark, gloomy winter months, because I don't have seasonal growth on. But if you may remember, rice, you have to flood the field when it's in its cultivated state. Do not flood the field for a long grain rice. You don't flood the field first. What you need to do is get yourself a seeder that does rice, so long grain rice, and I think pretty much nearly all the seeders do long grain rice. So get into the field and you just drill this like an ordinary field, like you're doing wheat or barley or oats or whatever, just a cultivated state, or this is actually a direct drill, so you don't really need to cultivate it, but you just drill it like an ordinary crop and you put in your long grain rice. And this does need to be fertilized twice, not like ordinary rice. The long grain rice needs to be fertilized twice, so I am fertilizing it here. I won't be doing a second stage of fertilizer because I'm sure everyone knows how to fertilize. So I will be just fertilizing with the drill, and then obviously you will need to come back in with a spreader or a sprayer and your narrow tires to give it a second stage. So I'll crack on and I will get the long grain rice in the ground, and I will be back when it is all drilled. Right, I have the crop in. We'll just pull the case up here out of the way. And as you can see, it is just like an ordinary field. We have just sown our long grain rice, and you still don't flood it. Do not flood it at this stage. It won't let you anyway. But the main thing is, do not flood it prior to seeding like you do with the ordinary rice. Long grain rice has to be drilled in like a dry seed bed. And then once you've drilled it, you can go about your business, go about your day. And in my case, I am going to go back to the house and rest. So I've skipped a full day. We are at 8 o'clock in the next in-game month. And as you can see, we do have a germinated long grain rice crop. This is the stage you need to flood. And again, 12 o'clock at night is when it will empty. So you can come out at 12 o'clock in the middle of the night and it will ask you to be flood this. So I just leave it till the morning. I've never had any issues this way. But if you leave it longer than just the morning, I usually, like I said, get up at 7, 8 o'clock in the mornings on this game. And I've never had a problem. But if you leave it till lunchtime or you forget to do it, you could run into issues. So just bear that in mind. And as you can see here, flood. This doesn't flood quite as much as the other one. I think it only goes to about 50 or 55%. And yeah, I will skip a bit of time and show you what the field looks like flooded with the crop in it. There we go. We do have a flooded long grain rice crop. And yeah, so basically you drill it, leave it germinate for a month, and you come back and you should be able to flood it. So I'm going to go rest now till 8 o'clock again. So we're back here at the second month of after drilling, and again it hasn't really grown much. It still looks pretty much the same, and we are here to flood the field yet again. So that took about 44 minutes to flood, because we were at, that's 66% now. We were at 8 o'clock exactly, and I just skipped time real fast, and it's 8:44. So yeah, about 45 minutes to flood. So we have a fully fertilized, fully flooded long grain rice field. So again, I'm going to go rest for another month. So we're back here again in the third month of after planting, and we are going to flood the field once more. Here we go, another flooded field. I'm going to go rest for another month. So it has progressed another growth stage. As you can see, it's slightly taller, and this is at the stage where you don't need to flood it anymore. It's done and dusted. So it's the same with long grain rice, or ordinary rice, I apologize. It's the same with ordinary rice. I forgot to show it. I just was skipping through the months. But yeah, this is at the stage you do not need to flood it anymore when it's kind of grown like this. So yeah, you just literally have to wait until it's ready to harvest then at this stage. And as you can see, this is what it looks like when it's ready to harvest. Nice lush crop full of rice. To harvest this sort of rice, you do need just an ordinary combine harvester. That is how this works. You just get in. Obviously can't get straw or anything like that from this, but we will unfold here and we will crack on. I forgot to say, long grain rice can only be planted in April and only harvested in September. We have a very short window to plant and harvest this. Otherwise it will wither unless you don't have seasonal growth on. Yeah, but you have 2 months to do the rice, and then it's only literally April and September to do the long grain rice. Just keep an eye on that too in your calendar. But yeah, here we go. We are harvesting long grain rice with a combine harvester. This is how it's done. Quite easy, quite simple. I'm sure everyone knows how to harvest with a combine harvester in Farming Simulator. But yeah, that's it. That's my breakdown of rice patties and how they work. So I really hope this video helped you out and cleared up some questions about the flooding and stuff. It was a little complicated at the start, obviously, because it was so new. But yeah, I broke it down the best I could. The two different rices are slightly different. So if this video did help you out, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Check out the channel for more tutorials and some of my Let's Plays on FS25. And I will see you guys in another video. Thanks for watching again, and goodbye.